Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. Now today's video comes after 3-4 days break since obviously the weekend. Well ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get the band back together, me and thee, as we face another European test. And I'll tell you something right now, we need a big step up in terms of performance for the last game that we actually saw. And you know what, as this game is absolutely massive in every single aspect of the word, we'll just get on with the actual video. Well, we are going ahead and doing that. By the way, if you didn't mind helping the old channel out and help us on our way, that would be greatly appreciated. But we'll dive in to the oppositional preview and have a look at tomorrow's opposition, Sparta Prague. And right off the bat, I'm not going to waste too much time in telling you that this team that we face tomorrow is not bad at kicking the old football around. They're big, they're powerful in the right positions, yet they've got real skill and quality over in the wide areas. They are a very dangerous outfit, and they've showed that so far this season as they currently find themselves sitting third in the old Czech league, only 4 points behind the league leaders. But for me, it is worth noting that their biggest strength and their biggest asset, what they bring as a football team, is putting the ball into the back of net, because right now, as I'm currently recording today's video, they are joint league leaders in scoring goals over in Czech football, as they've scored 24 league goals so far this season. Now that is a start that they share with a familiar foe in Slavia Prague, but the less said about that team, the better, in my opinion. But back to the actual opposition that we face tomorrow. Sparta score goals for fun. That is their business, and that is what they do better than most people right now, because so far this season, out of the 15 games that they've played in all competitions, they've only failed to score in 2 of those matches. Only 2, ladies and gentlemen, and both of those games ended up being in European football, one of them being a Champions League qualifier versus Monaco, whilst the other game that they drew a blank was actually on opening day of our Europa League group stage, when we obviously lost to Lyon. They drew over in Denmark 0-0, and a game of football that they really should have won and scored, because they had so many opportunities and so many chances, but on that day they were off going forward. But in case anyone's sitting here thinking, alright, that might start a wee run here, CG, where they just stop scoring goals, maybe they'll lose a bit of confidence. Since that 0-0 draw over in Denmark, they've went ahead and scored 9 goals in the last 3 games, leading into this one. So their attack is by far their biggest strength, and for us the biggest danger coming in to this game of football, because it can come from anywhere. The goal can be created out of absolute nothing, and they've showed that all season long. So for us, the defence that we had versus Dundee needs to be a completely different airspace, troops, because we can't play anywhere near as bad. We need to be back to doing what we done last season, otherwise Sparta would have been watching that game of football versus Dundee and licking their lips. And to finish up the Sparta Prague the old Sparta Prague preview properly, that was a lot of P's, ladies and gentlemen. We have to go ahead and look at how they line up and set up, and this is where it gets so damn interesting, because domestically the way Sparta line up is a 4-2-3-1, kind of the traditional that we see a lot of teams line up with. It's built on attacking, going forward. It's a formation that I've talked about on this channel that I would love to see us employ and really go after, using the 2 midfielders to cover for the full-backs, but then have everybody else going forward and having loads of bodies in the box. But that isn't what's interesting to talk about with Sparta Prague, and that isn't how they will be lining up and be playing tomorrow versus Rangers. No. Where this takes a very interesting turn, ladies and gentlemen, is how Sparta actually line up in European football, because in every single game that they've played, from Champions League qualifier right to the latest game over in Denmark, they have lined up in a 4-3-3, where the wingers have been their main outlets, their main outballs, and that's usually where the ball goes from the centre halves, etc., to get them up the park. But the wingers are able to cut inside and make things difficult, and when they do cut inside, the fullbacks are bombing forward and going very far forward and leaving themselves very vulnerable, which leaves the left centre mid and the right centre mid to sit back and sort of cover any potential counter attack. That is how they line up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, does that sound familiar to anybody? That's right, people. The way that Sparta Prague has played every single game at the European stage has been absolutely identical to how we play domestically and how we set up and play. So it's genuinely like holding a mirror up and playing ourselves in this game of football. And that, for me, is the single most interesting thing when I looked at this team. I couldn't believe it when I was sitting back and watching it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we face ourselves domestically, but in Europe, Does that make sense? I think it did, ladies and gentlemen, but anyway, I'll carry on with the actual video, right? That's us done and dusted with the oppositional preview. Let's get into the Rangers side of today's video. And you know, son, it's kind of weird because that weight is still around about our shoulders. I thought it was freed after getting through to the semi-final. I was expecting a performance, but there's still so much toxicness, and there's a lot of aggression, there's a lot of moaning, there's a lot of people wanting this guy dropped, this guy stripped the captaincy, this guy dropped and everything like that. For me, I didn't agree with a lot of that that's actually being said, but one thing that I think we can all agree on is we need a much better performance than what we saw versus Dundee at the weekend. It needs to be completely night and day, because if we even give a fifth of the chances that we gave away versus Dundee against Sparta, they will absolutely rip us apart going forward, because they're so clinical and they're so dangerous, and that needs to be a complete 180 from what we were doing defensively just a couple of days ago. But, and there is a but, ladies and gentlemen, because I think we all need to remember who we've became in Europe under Steven Gerrard. Yes, so far this season it's been anything but perfect. In fact, it's been really stinking in most of the games, if we're just being honest between me and these. But form is temporarily and class is permanent, troops. And I think when you go back and you look at the steady progression that we've had this season upon season upon season, we've really became a team that not many in Europe wants to face. I mean, we went through the group stages last season undefeated, and we deserved it, and we've battled and we've hanged in there with the quote-unquote big boys of Europe with money to spend left, right and centre. And despite us going ahead and losing in the opening game versus Lyon, who are a fantastic team and who are one of the favourites to win this entire competition, we lost 2-0 and we weren't anywhere near our best. But still, despite that, for me, we didn't get battered the entire game. We weren't completely outclassed. I think if you go back and you look at that game, you will see a Rangers team that wasn't at it at the level that we've came to expect, but still we weren't ripped apart. In fact, the 2 goals that we lost, it was down to individual and defensive errors that led to us losing that game. So I can take a little bit of hope and a little bit of confidence from that frustrating mess of that opening game versus Lyon, and think if we can cut out our defensive mistakes, if we can get our defence back to what it's able to actually do, then we give ourselves the platform to go ahead and do what we've done over the last couple of years, and that is get fantastic result after fantastic result in European football. And that all starts the Mora. Now, there will be people in the comment section saying, aye CJ, it's alright if we do cut out the defensive mistakes and we get back defending properly, but we're also not going forward properly and scoring goals. A valid point, okay, you've got me there, but still, just going back to what I've said, it is going to turn eventually and we will get back. But again, to me, there's a lot of people throwing toys at the pram and going absolutely crazy, but I've seen this style of play of just grinding out results many times. I mean, Walter Smith's second spell was built on these types of ugly wins and ugly games, but does anyone care? No, because we won trophies at the end of the season, and Gerrard's pretty much came out and said that over the last 2 press conferences, that no one will remember the performances, all they'll remember is the result. And we're getting them domestically, we just need to start getting them again at the European stage. But even I can admit, despite everything I've said, the performance at this level needs to be a hell of a lot better. But I believe still in this team, I believe still in all these players that's at this football club, because what they've gave us over the last year, knew that everything isn't going quite as well and everything's not as quite as smooth and we aren't scoring goals for fun, etc, etc. This is when they really need our backing, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm waiting for it to turn, ladies and gentlemen, and again, I would love it to be tomorrow, because look at this, alright? I am 1 or 2 more games away for sitting here like Santa, and I'll be honest with you, it's almost the perfect time of the year for it. But I paid full realisation, jokes and everything to one side, as we're talking about how we play and getting back to playing our best. Something that we obviously mentioned in the oppositional preview was how Sparta has actually come in and played a European stage with a 4-3-3, very similar to us. So I don't think we should be caught with any surprise. I think we should know exactly how to play this. Nothing should shock us in this game, and I'm hoping the way that they play and how it is so similar can help us get back to that level, especially as it allows us to perfectly translate into what our best setup and style of play is in Europe, and that is that 4-3-3 counter-attack that devastated so many teams last season, because we weren't dominating on the ball a lot of times. No, we were devastating and quick, and it was that word quick there that I want to talk about, because obviously we know Ryan Kent is no longer available to play in the next couple of games. He should be back after the international break, well, fingers crossed anyway that he's back. Even a half-fit Ryan Kent is probably better than what we got at Dundee. But the quickness will be the key in this game, especially with how far forward they go forward and how quickly their fullbacks go forward. And I do think the boy Fashion Sakala will be the potential key man if he does start this game, because we need pace in behind. And if we are going to come away with a fantastic performance, and if we are going to come away with a fantastic result, I think it is going to be built on the back of that quick counter-attack. But aye, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as today's video is getting on and on in terms of the old minutes, I'll finish up today's video with the last little thing, speaking about the players, because for the first time this entire frickin' season, we have went from game to game without an injury, suspension or COVID related issue. And by God, does that not feel good on the coconuts, troops? Genuinely, this is the first time this season we went back-to-back games without another injury or anyone missing out. So again, hopefully we can start building up now and get back to the cohesion that we know we can play it, because it just needs that 1 or 2 games in a row to really take off and show what we're capable of doing. And again, I'm just going to be the optimist, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to expect to go into a very difficult environment versus a very difficult team. Everything's screaming out that this is going to be a painful game the more a bit. To me, I push all that to one side and say, I fancy us, troops. And that leads us to the prediction side of today's video. So with everything being said, with the oppositional preview, the Rangers conversation and the latest Rangers team news, what's your thoughts and opinions going into this massive game and this difficult test versus Sparta Prague? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. For me, I'm going to back us, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to back us to come away with a cheeky Rangers 2, Sparta Prague 1. I'm backing 2 goals away from him. I'm just going for it. I think with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's me officially done and dusted with today's video. So until next time, till tomorrow, after the game, take care of yourselves, all the best, and bye.